Chair will call the June 9, 2023 meeting of the Sheriff's Office and Sheriff's Office Advisory and Review Board to order and declare that we are open for business as may come before us. I'll ask Danette to call the roll.
Tommy Jewell,
Present.
Diane Layden,
Present.
David Montoya.
Did we hear from Mr. Montoya at all?
I have not heard from him.
Okay.
Joseph Lopez,
Present.
Mr. Stewart,
Here.
Debbie Strung,
Present.
Debbie Dodge. Michael Wismer is absent. He did send an email. And Elena Giacchi is absent also. She
Okay.
sent an email.
She sent an email as well?
Yes.
Okay, so nobody's waiting to get in that we're aware of that has not gotten in,
No,
correct?
that is correct, sir.
Well, let me declare that we have it. We'll move on to item 3 on the agenda, which is our consent agenda and calls for the approval of our May 12 meeting minutes. Is there such a motion?
I so moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? And properly seconded that the minutes of the May 12 meeting be approved.
Judge, if I might, there's two things. On 6 Alpha, second bullet, he promoted Major Anderson to the mayor.
Oh, wow. Well, she wants to be the mayor,
Yeah.
don't you?
And
Well, she's not here today. We'll make her the mayor.
and on the roll call, you've got Walter James in there again.
My computer likes you that way. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
That's
gonna,
not the name I go by.
I know. I'm gonna just put Mr. Stewart from now on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chief.
Those corrections are noted. Are there other additions, deletions, corrections? Hearing none, are you ready for the question? Those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Any opposed, nay? Hearing only ayes, the minutes of the May 12 meeting will stand approved. And we'll move on to item 4 on the agenda, which is public comment. I know via email from Danette that somebody did sign up to address this board. Are they present, Danette?
No, I do not see them
I
present.
believe
at
it
all.
was Elaine Maestas, is that?
Yes, yes.
And is there an Elaine Maestas on the Zoom, on the Google team?
No, sir, there is not.
Is there anyone else waiting to address the public? I'll note that we are blessed to have a reporter with whom I've just gone through an interview. And she's welcome. She doesn't have to make comment, but we'll note that we have media present. So if there's nothing else with respect to public comment, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome those that are with us from the Sheriff's Office and yield the floor to them with respect to item 5 on the agenda, the Sheriff's Office comment. Certainly, I've had the opportunity to meet Under Sheriff Harino, and I just made acquaintance with Under Sheriff Williamson, and of course, we have our previous board member with us as well. So let me yield the floor to that lofty delegation and Under Sheriff Harino, as you might want to address us, please proceed.
I'll look forward to Under Sheriff Williamson.
Very good.
You want?
I
Okay.
think I've met everybody here so far and those that are joining us remotely. Under Sheriff Aaron Williamson, this is my first SOARB meeting, so I'm looking forward to working with you. I apologize, my schedule just hasn't allowed for me to get here sooner, but was appointed Under Sheriff in January of this year by Sheriff Allen, and I look forward to working with the board and being involved with the board at least for the next 4 years, maybe longer.
Well, we certainly welcome you and thank you for being here. And though we might regret the schedule didn't allow you to be here previously, you're here now and we'll take full advantage of that.
Right.
And Diane Dosal, we certainly appreciate you being here. You've been You calling me Hollywood? You've been pretty trustworthy yourself there. Okay. Please.
On our team's meeting is our new behavioral health sergeant. So our behavioral health unit is expanding. Sheriff Allen took, the initiative to really start expanding this unit by means of me and the new sergeant. So if Sergeant Tidwell wants to say anything, I don't know when that would be allowed, but he's here.
We've got a sergeant on the screen.
Right below Debbie.
Yes, yes.
So,
I would think now would be fine. Now,
If we can hear.
yeah, we're having a little difficulty in that all our audio is coming out of Danette's computer, but please, any comments you would care to share?
Of course, I'm Daryl Tidwell. I'm the sergeant with the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department. I was recently appointed to the Behavioral Health Unit, and I'm just really excited to be a part of this new and exciting change. And I'm really excited to see where we can take this and build something new and really have a meaningful impact on the community. And thank you guys for allowing me to be here and speak with you guys.
Well, we know this is the brainchild of Ms. Dosal, and we're grateful to have you on board. And there are several of our members for whom this is a particular topic of interest, but more generally, we're all interested in our efforts to serve the population in the manner that you all do. So we welcome you. Congratulations on your hire and look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Dr. Layden, you had a comment?
No, just
Oh.
waving.
Oh, okay. Very good. Anything else?
So this might be something that comes up later. I think Danette and I were talking about it, but we have our behavioral health tab. And it's under construction. I've been adding to it slowly, and we have key partners, and SOARB is obviously one of them. And our personnel did create a temporary logo to kind of make the formatting friendly to look at. Having said that, because of branding and Burnco's new logos, I think that what might be coming your way is you might be creating a logo so that way we can promote that not only on our website, but for your board in general. So that's probably gonna be a discussion for later on, but we do have our behavioral health tab up and running. And we'll be adding Sergeant Tidwell to it. And that's pretty much it. As far as training goes, we have been in talks with SeatWorks. They manage professionally trained actors that help us with foundational building of scenarios for mental health scenarios in CIT class. So that's something that we've been working on and probably implement soon. And then in addition to that, we're still working on policy. Policy hasn't been written, but it's just going through the channels of our SOP committee. So that's in the works now. And you know, it hadn't been looked at since 2013, so we can finalize that here in a few weeks. That's it.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments from the board? Okay, nothing else. Under Sheriff Irino, anything else?
The only new thing that I have to add is this past week, we had 11 deputies attending a train the trainer class put on by the DEA for fentanyl awareness. And the reason why we selected a train the trainer class instead of just a training class is because it allows everybody who attended to then teach that same class to other certified training deputies or sergeants, sworn personnel, so they can then expand that. As part of those 11 people that we had 6 people from our community engagement team. And because they're so involved with the community, so now every time they go somewhere to an event and they're requested that they speak in reference to fentanyl, they're actually able to give a training that is actually a certified training. And 5 of those 11 are school support deputies. And because we want to expand that to the schools, as we're seeing the trend of not only high school, but middle school, all the way up to elementary school. So That's not every deputy. Now, the fact that we hold this training and the certification, the deputies can just teach the entire office. So it will be expanded for everybody who's a certified trainer, which is a different certification that a deputy needs. It's a class that they need to attend, but we have several dozens of deputies who hold that certification. So now we're gonna be expanding that aspect of it. We've been getting requested a lot by different entities to go speak about fentanyl. And we have been able to speak based on experience, but it's a lot different when we actually have a training specific for that. But now they all have a PowerPoint presentation that it was provided to us by the DEA. And then we can present that and add the experience aspect to the presentation aspect of it. So we'll be expanding more and more on that until everybody has that training. And in the meantime, the deputies are training their own squads on this. And then all the school support deputies will have the ones that didn't attend this class because they're preparing for these camps. So we're actually starting next week. They'll be trained on that as well and be making it part of their day-to-day and operations in their schools when the school year actually starts.
Well, thanks for that information. I just wondered, is that something, I don't know that we need a training, but at least an introduction to fentanyl and fentanyl use in our community might be helpful for this board to hear something.
Yeah.
Whether from one of your certified officers or otherwise, you
Yeah.
know, we would benefit by knowing.
Yeah.
what's going on.
It's open to, the fact that we have it because we're getting so many requests. We partnered up with the Mexican consulate quite often.
Mhm.
They do put seminars at different churches,
Mhm.
For the Spanish speaking community.
Mhm.
And they talk about different topics. They talk about illegal racing, street racing. They
Mhm.
talk about the issue with DOBI. They talk about a lot of different things.
Mhm.
But now they've been focusing a lot on fentanyl. So we've been using our detective and myself to go teach these classes, but again, based on experience. So it is open. We're doing this for the community in general. It's not just for us to hold the information. Is the training is actually for the community to be more aware of it.
Okay.
So yeah, whenever you guys want, or you guys are hosting an event, we can have our deputies go and teach it, or if you just want to spend 1 to 2 hours learning about this, we have 11 people who are certified to teach it.
Very good. Dr. Layton, you had a comment or question?
No, I hope.
Who are
we
you waving
can
at?
Invite someone.
I do have a question.
I'm sorry. You're hoping we can invite
I'm
someone?
hoping we can invite someone from
Okay.
the sheriff's office to
Good.
train us.
I was hearing on the news today that now they've come out with some strips or something that they can tell if someone has taken fentanyl.
There's some testing kits, but the problem is we come out with so many things to test, not just fentanyl, everything. But I think that education is part of
Oh,
solving the
yeah,
problem a lot
definitely,
more.
yeah.
But yeah, they're making,
I guess
mean,
you
it's
have
an
to make a
illegal-
whole thing and test for everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
detection is not as much a problem as awareness. Is that fair?
awareness is a lot because we're seeing a lot of it. And
Yeah,
for
And,
part
you know,
of this,
I think I've seen press where fentanyl can be manufactured or packaged or something. It looks like candy or.
exactly, and that's the issue that we're seeing with elementary schools
Uh-huh.
and middle schools,
Mhm.
where even some kid might be not feeling very good, I have a headache, and some other classmate might be, hey, I have a pill that might help you, and they get passed by
Mhm.
even as a candy. So
Mhm.
the educational and the awareness for the public, for the parents, for the school, and for the community in general is where this training focuses on.
Mhm.
And we can accomplish a lot more by education, than the part of the prevention aspect of it. So
right.
Judge, may I tag? up
Yes,
with
please.
this? Are your deputies carrying Narcan or naloxone?
They do. Every deputy is, every sworn personnel, we even have some
Okay.
in our vehicles, we don't have in our camp.
Well, now fentanyl is a legitimate medicine.
It is.
It is a it's a legitimate pain medicine. So distinctions need to be made. Yeah, I was given fentanyl. I fell 2 years ago with pain.
Yeah, it's how they're
It's how it's.
using it.
Yeah.
I mean, when it's
And then
prescribed by the
lacing it with
doctor
stuff, yeah.
different story than-
Supervised and
Yeah.
it's.
and the components that they're using for it is a lot different when it's manufactured in somebody's home than when it's manufactured by a lab, and that's the problem. We're not seeing necessarily the medical aspect of components of fentanyl being the one that is used by drug dealers, is
Right,
what they're making on their own. And that's the issue of it.
the same issue with OxyContin,
Mhm.
oxycodone.
Debbie Strongen, were you saying something?
No,
Oh,
sorry.
okay. Thought I heard something coming from the computer there.
That's the only new, I mean, everything else I think.
I'm sorry. You
No,
have
that's,
nothing?
I just wanted to say, I read in the newspaper that the sheriff's deputies are the best paid law enforcement
Yeah.
in the state.
Yep, let's clap. So the sheriff came before us and said that was one of the legislative priorities, and apparently that was accomplished, so congratulations on that.
It was, I'm the Sheriff Williamson can speak as he was part of the negotiating team on the contract.
And so it's just to clarify, because there's gonna be certain individuals will come out and say other agencies have a higher starting pay.
Right.
What we look at is our overall deputies. So, we matched APD's Master Patrol, which is what you get after 15 years of service.
Right,
Our deputies that have 18 months on are going to be receiving that same pay, so they're not having to wait 15 years to get that pay. So when you look at that, yes, overall, as an agency and an office, we are definitely the highest paid. Obviously, others are going to be wanting to take that title back, but as of right now, and I think we have a good compensation package. We also adjusted the longevity pay. Before, deputies would not get their longevity until year 5. We've added a step at the beginning, so beginning at year 3, they will start getting $75 of pay period and longevity. And then we also added another step at year 22 to retirement, which will provide them an $800 per pay period, so $1,600 a month, basically. And the reason for that is to get the new hires, get them enticed to stick around for 3 years, and get to that point. And then the folks that we have, trying to keep them all on a little bit longer. Because if you got somebody that's got 21, 22 years of service and, you know, they're in their early 40s, they still have a lot of years that they can provide, and they have a lot of experience that we can't teach in the academy. So that's one of the reasons. And I think we have a very good benefits package along with the environment that the sheriff's office provides. I think we have probably the best benefits package and opportunity for anybody that's looking for a career in law enforcement in the state or anywhere in the US. So
What happens if someone transfers from APD to you guys? Do they come in as a beginner, or do they?
So we have just opened up, we've done a couple in the past, but Sheriff Allen is dedicated to making sure that we get the best quality and qualified individuals on the department. We just hired or just opened up a lateral class. So people from other law enforcement agencies are going to be able to come in, and after their probationary period, they will be at that higher pay, the deputy first class pay. And we're also working on trying to work them into the longevity to where if they've got, 10, 15 years with another agency, they're not going to lose that longevity. So we're hoping we can make that.
Yeah, I think the article I read said that you all were down probably 100 officers, is that
I think
fair?
the current number we have right now is hovering right around 40.
40?
We are in the process of seeding this lateral academy, which will start in July, and then our next cadet class, full academy for people that have no law enforcement experience, also be starting around the same time frame. So we're hoping that we can get somewhere in the 15 to maybe 20 out of these first 2 classes.
Mhm.
And then we're already recruiting for class 46 and another lateral academy. So hopefully this time next year, we'll be reporting that our numbers are, hopefully in the single digit, if not fully staffed.
may I ask about the lateral academy?
Yes.
I assume these are people with a certain amount of experience. How much do they have to come into the lateral academy?
So right now, they just have to be certified peace officers.
Okay.
We took the requirement away from having years of service, and the thought process behind that is you have somebody that just graduated a law enforcement academy. They don't have the bad habits yet. That's maybe somebody that we want to pick up and bring them into our culture and train them the way that we want to. So, you know, obviously we still have our very strict hiring standards, but that's the direction that we're going in, is to try and make sure that we're getting the best people. And if they have 0 years of experience, but they are certified, we're looking at them to bring them in and raise them up in our department and make sure that we get a good quality product out on the street for the community we serve.
Would you go ahead and do the background stuff?
Yes, they still go through a background. They go through a 7-week, they go through a 7-week modified academy. And then they also go through 4 months of FTO or on-the-job training after that. So we do have a lot of checks and balances in place to make sure that the people that we do bring in are as good as they say they are on paper.
All right, anything else on that? I think I have yet another question, though, Under Sheriff. I know that I saw something about, the sheriff being a part of a joint, strike or task force regarding organized crime.
Organized retail crime.
Okay,
So we implemented this year an organized retail crime.
okay,
We did not have that before. And that was a commitment from Sheriff Allen from before he took office.
okay.
So we've seen the issue he met with a lot of business members
Mhm.
where we understand that if we don't focus on economic development,
Mhm.
the crime factor of it gets affected a lot. I mean, there's a lot of crime that come because of economic development. So if we don't do something to increase the capabilities of the county and the city and the business people to actually be successful, we're gonna start incurring into a lot of crime issues. So that was a commitment that he had. He wanted to have an organized retail crime unit, which now we have, and they are all over the place. And I'm honestly, the fact that they tested for it and the amount of people they have, the results that they're having are amazing. They only have 4 detectives and 1 sergeant, but they do operations every day. They work undercover. They do operations with uniformed deputies. They work hours that I don't know. I don't know if they get honestly any sleep, but they understand that the requirements of it are high because the problem is so high. And always before there's been this issue of, okay, law enforcement is short, then we're all short. But the problem is that's not an excuse. We still have to provide a service. And it's just the allocation of resources that we're working on. That's a big issue. So we need to properly allocate resources where the big issues are. And that's obviously, as we all know, it is a big issue. So allocating proper amount of resources to that unit with specific people, the result that we're having, almost every single one of the top 10 shoplifting offenders in the metro area has been apprehended by that unit.
So they're doing the whole metro area. Yeah.
They go all over. We don't have this, that's the city's problem, this is the county problem. As we said before, there is no price on who takes credit, because at the end of the day, people want results and we're required to provide results and we're committed to provide results. So they work in operations in Coronado Mall and ABQ Uptown, issues where we're having, that's the most concentration of retail crime is. So we have to target that. But we do have constant communication with the Albuquerque Police Department. We're not doing their job. We're adding more people to where they need the resources. So we work in operations together. We do pack plans together. When we operate in the city, we let them know that we're going to be there. And if something happens, so they can go and assist, and vice versa. If they're doing operations with their retail crime unit, we offer our retail crime detectives to go help with that. So this is a joint operations. We cannot, and we're not an administration, and our sheriff is not someone who wants to take credit for everything that we do. At the end of the day, we need results as a whole, independently of what uniform shows up, but we need to do our part of allocating the proper resources. But yeah, we do have, they're working on several $million cases that we're putting together because of this new law that kicks in on July 1st of organized retail crime, where we can tie different crimes of the same person and add them all together. Now, if somebody keeps stealing $100 on every hit, we can only target it for the one. So starting July 1st, we can add them all up and now it becomes a felony, becomes organized crime, become RICO case. So there's a lot of things in the work, but they're very sharp. The credit goes to those guys. They work crazy amount of hours. That sometimes we've gotten called from a business that have our personal phone numbers, call us at 11 PM that something is going on, and I call their sergeant, they're like, oh, we're out and about. We'll be right there, and they show up. And one specific case that happens to me, it happens to my wife. She's this retail manager, they had an issue at their store, it was like 8 PM, and the detectives were out working on a Sunday. So they're definitely making an impact.
Good deal. Well, I think Debbie Strong, our vice chair, has her hand up. Question or comment, Debbie?
Thank you. I think also when you asked about organized crime, it reminded me that I think the governor has recently reestablished the State Organized Crime Commission, and that's to go after, I guess, any kind of organized crime. But what was mentioned in the articles were things like drug, gun, and sex trafficking. And I guess Sheriff Allen is also on that commission. So I'm wondering what role BCSO is playing on that commission.
He is part of that commission. He was asked and appointed by the governor. And it does work a lot as a intelligence network. Because the issue that we're experiencing here in Albuquerque and the county of Bernalillo is not an isolated issue nationwide. But especially it's not an issue, it is an issue around the state. So there is a lot of information that we need to cooperate. If we push crime out of the county of Bernalillo, it's gonna go to the surrounding county. So we need to stay connected with them, but they're working on recommendations on background of offenders, started working on legislation for FY 2024. So they do have a big impact. And yes, it was coordinated by the governor, and Sheriff Allen is intricate part of that, to get these recommendations and to actually work together with other counties. And as much like I was saying on our specific organized retail crime unit that we have, if we just work isolated and alone, we're only gonna make a small dent on this problem. So us working together with other agencies, the only way that we're gonna actually make an impact. So this is like a bigger scope of what we're doing in the city between us, APD and state police. Now it's the entire state being part of that.
And feds as well, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. All right, anything else, Madam Vice Chair, did you have?
No, thank you for that answer.
Anything else, fellow board members? Okay. Well, again, we thank you all for being here. Look, the record reflected Daniel Roberson, our legal counsel, is present as well.
Hi,
Hi.
Daniel, this is Under Sheriff Aaron Williamson. This is Daniel Roberson.
We've emailed back and forth.
Email, it's nice to find a good face.
Okay, just so you know. We're legally covered.
We'll move on, unless there's objection to item 6 on the agenda, our old business. Item 6A is traffic stop taser incident described in the following article. And I think you all took this up in my absence at the last meeting. My understanding is the status of that has not changed, that it is not ripe for comment from the sheriff's office. Is that correct?
Correct. So the internal affairs investigation has been completed, has been sent up to the sheriff for review. We just received that. Say Friday, we received that yesterday. And so as soon as the sheriff has had a chance to review that and make his decision, then we can speak more on the topic. But there has been progress. The IA investigation is complete at this point.
Thank you.
this time, would you guys like to table or defer until there's more
Um,
information?
Can we put this item on the agenda for next time?
You can table or defer, and then when they're ready, we can bring it back to agenda. It doesn't have to be next meeting, it could be the following meeting, but yeah, you do need to take a vote on that.
And, and I think that's what was done at the last meeting, that it was tabled. But is there such a motion, Dr. Layton? Would you like to table that?
The table,
Second?
6A.
Anything else on that without
Yeah.
objection?
Wait, may I make a comment? I would kind of like to just keep it on the agenda and ask the question about it every month. And if the answer is, no comment yet, that's fine. But I think we should affirmatively ask about it at each meeting
Well, I don't
until
know.
they're,
Yeah, I don't know that the tabling motion included that, but any problem with that, Dr. Layton, that
No
it appear
problem.
on our agendas until addressed?
Yes,
Is that fair, Vice Chair? Is that satisfactory to you?
sounds good to me. Thanks.
Those in favor of that, say aye. Any
Aye.
opposition? I don't hear any opposition, so that will remain on our agendas until we've gotten some information about it.
Judge, may I segue off of that though?
Sure.
If what you said was that the report goes to the sheriff, does that go along with a recommendation for some disciplinary action or some remedial action?
No, basically the fact finding portion of the investigation will go to the sheriff, and then the sheriff will review all of the facts, the interviews, everything that was included in that investigation, and then the sheriff will make the determination.
So he makes the final decision based on that for discipline?
Correct.
So what's the appeal process? If the guy at the top of the pile makes the decision, how does the deputy appeal that?
So we have an entire appeal process set up through our contract. That the deputies are aware of, that they can basically file grievance if they don't agree with the recommendation or the discipline that comes from that investigation.
Okay.
And then there's an entire appeals process that they can go through to try and resolve it that way.
Okay, no. The world that I come from in Texas, I didn't have that entity, so it'd be one of us that would make the decision on the discipline. And if they didn't like that, then they would take it up to the sheriff, and then he would adjudicate the appeal.
Correct. Correct. So we have a process. The sheriff is the final person to review that, make his recommendation, and then that's carried out. And then if they disagree with the discipline or the outcome of that, then they can file a grievance, and then it goes through the grievance process.
Okay, so it doesn't flow through either one of you to the sheriff. So y'all don't add any recommendations or comments to the findings.
No,
Okay.
ultimately, the sheriff is the final at the final decision. Then it can be.
So there's an IAB or something of that nature. And what rank is that?
What's in that IAB? Jim?
Internal affairs.
Okay.
So internal affairs conducts the way, ours is a little bit different than the way it is in Texas, or I'm assuming it's a little bit different based off of the conversation you and I just had. So the sheriff the complaint is generally sent through a memo in the beginning up to the sheriff saying, this is the statement of facts, this is what has occurred. And it's up to the sheriff to say, yes, there's enough here to open up an IA investigation, or no, there's not enough here to open up an IA investigation. Once an investigation has been opened, then it goes to, that statement of facts goes to our IAB, or our internal affairs. They do the investigation, they go through the entire process, do the interviews, collect the facts, evidence, anything that they need for that case. Once it's completed, then it goes, back to the sheriff for final review. The sheriff makes his decision, and then it goes back down the chain, and then they have their grievance process that they can grieve it or accept the discipline.
So now, are we in the initial part of that where the sheriff is finding the facts?
So the sheriff has already authorized it to be a full IA investigation.
Okay,
That investigation is complete. That's what we've been waiting on. It's now the sheriff. The sheriff ultimately from the day he authorizes a IA investigation, he has 180 days to complete it. He can ask for a one-time 30-day extension. But that's generally, it's done well within 180 days.
Okay. Debbie, did you have another question or comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that just before the meeting, I think some of us got an email from PIO Fuller that the officer involved in this incident is currently on administrative leave pending the results of the investigation. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else on this? Okay, and we've tabled further discussion of it, so it will appear on future agendas until we think it's been appropriately resolved. Item 7 is update from SOARB subcommittees. Are there any subcommittee updates?
Not from the policy side, no, sir.
Okay. Anything, anybody? Subcommittee wise, no? Very good. Oh, yeah.
It's getting disbanded because we now have Diana Gonzalez.
Oh, okay. I see the vice chair has her hand up again though, so let me.
Oh, I don't know if we exactly have a subcommittee that covers this, but I think it's a topic that's sort of come up many times. And again, it just has to do with outreach to the community. And I've recently read a number of articles and seen postings on Facebook about what seems to me very creative outreach that the sheriff's office is doing right now. One of the projects was, I guess, members of the sheriff's office, and I don't know which high schools were involved, but there's a high school lowrider motorcycle building club, and they were coming together to work together on these lowrider motorcycle projects. And I think that's a great idea to reach out to kids that way.
Well, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Certainly, we have a public outreach committee that you are a member of. Ultimately, I speak for the board publicly in that regard. I report for this subcommittee that I just gave an interview about the general operation of SOARB. The reporter Natalie Wattis is that the way that's pronounced? Is here with us, and certainly, I hope I emphasized in my discussion with her that we invite the public to join us, to make comment to us. We are in a circumstance where our sheriff has been very active and responsive, and certainly we appreciate the undersheriffs being here. And so there's just kind of the perfect opportunity for the public to address issues, give compliments, or otherwise be heard with respect to the operations of the sheriff's office. So thank you, Vice Chair. Commendations, Sheriff's Office, for that particular effort at outreach. And is there any other subcommittee?
Well, this isn't a subcommittee, but when she brought up the lowrider thing, and I'll send this out in an email. The sheriff's office is also having a community baby shower. I mean, he's initiated that, so.
A community
domestic-
baby shower?
Yeah, for domestic violence
Oh.
victims and for diapers and things like that.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah, they're gathered.
a lot of outreach, so, people can.
Gentlemen, were you shy about sharing this with us? We're having a baby shower. Okay.
It's going on for a month, but I mean,
Oh.
it was on Facebook and everything, so that's why I
Okay.
thought, but I'll send out that. Everybody,
Very
you
good.
guys want to participate.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Anything else? It looks like item 8 announces our next board meeting as tentatively set for Friday, July 14th, 2023. Are we expected to meet here again, or are we taking the show on the road? I think Elena Giacchi was
I think
kind of looking at
Yeah.
places we could go.
we looked
Nothing
at
yet, though.
the South Valley Multicultural Center and they have availability July, August, September for the second Friday of the month, but it'd have to be shifted to like late afternoon at 4. But, we
Well-
just need to get back to them. I think probably they just need enough. If you guys are gonna do something on the road, you probably need enough time for advertisement.
Mhm.
So if you're gonna shoot for anything, I would say obviously it would have to be August or September. But I don't know. I think that's something you guys probably should decide, so that way I can book if that's where. we're
Yeah,
gonna-
Debbie Strong, and you have your hand up again?
I forgot because Elena has laryngitis right now.
Oh.
So, but she did mention in a text message that that Danette was going to be looking into availability in the South Valley for August or September. So, maybe we can. I don't know if we can take a vote on that now, or should we wait until we have everybody here to see who in particular Elena can make a, particular date in August or September.
Okay, I'm not sure, Vice Chair, what you want. Would you like a vote on whether or not we meet there in August or September?
Yeah, I mean, I'm flexible. I can do either.
Okay.
Maybe
Well,
we
and
can
I'm
just get
assuming-
sort of a
I'm
read
assuming they would
on
have electronic capability.
Mhm.
So it, the floor can be open
Let's do
for
it.
that. Any question, problem, or concern if we meet there August or September?
I'm good.
I think the members present are certainly in favor of that if it can be arranged. And so Danette, you can run with that information and give us our best opportunity to meet. I should say, we're not confined by ordinance or otherwise to that one meeting a month. That is just a decision we made early on that we would schedule minimally once a month. And we picked on the second Friday of the month. We've changed the time. We used to meet at 11. We used to meet virtually entirely and now meet in person. So, I mean, we're not locked into where, when. So just keep that in mind, but the minutes can certainly reflect that there is favorable reception to a meeting outside of county headquarters. And with that, if it's August, that's fine. That I think gives at least 30 days notice of that. If it's September, that's fine. Now, Vice Chair, it seems to me we're getting close to needing to at least be concerned about annual report. So just keep that in mind. And I know that you've entreated us previously about what we need to be doing to make sure that we're in a position to ready our annual report. So.
Okay,
I
yeah,
hear
I
you.
mean, I think what would be good is if the people who are on particular subcommittees start to write up whatever findings. I know that, there's a pretty active committee interested in mental health issues, and we've had a number of reports. There have been a number of changes in the sheriff's office, so you might want to think about, starting to get that organized. I think that subcommittee had asked for an update from the sheriff's office, specifically by August, because you thought that by then, the sheriff's office would have had enough time to make some changes. It looks like the sheriff has jumped the gun and has already made a lot of changes. So I would suggest that, that section, whatever you want to say about that, that you start working on it.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, thank you.
thank you.
Anything else before we adjourn? So our next meeting will be here, at least ostensibly, on Friday, July 14 at 1 p.m. We have planned then afoot to either meet in August or September outside of this facility. Otherwise, alternatively, that meeting will be here again. And unless there's something further from the board or others, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so moved.
Second,
Second.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposition? Geez, okay, so we're coming on 2:00. We're rolling pretty good. Thank you all. We're adjourned.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
All right.